Kalen DeBoer could do something that rivals the great Nick Saban. It could even be better than Saban. I'm about to tell you what it is. Stick around. This is Way Offsides. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever the case may be. Welcome to Way Offsides, your favorite Alabama sports talk on YouTube. We do all things Alabama. We just do them a little different around these parts. Before we get started, I got something I want to talk about. Stick around. I promise I'm going to make it make sense. I promise I'm not saying something just absolutely insane. But fresh off the beach today, I'm here. I made it. We want to talk about recruiting because you guys absolutely love recruiting. But before we get there, I have to do it. I'm sorry, but we rely on you to make our content good. So please consider subscribing, leaving a comment on this video, liking the video, hitting the notification bell so you don't ever miss anything. We're going to be keeping up with all the recruiting news. We're going to talk a ton about recruiting and who's on OVs today. So stick around for the whole video. You're not going to want to miss it. So let's get started. Right off the cuff, we're right in the middle of the first weekend of official visit season for Alabama football. It is Saturday, May 31st. Alabama is hosting a loaded group of folks on campus, headlined by five-star safety Jet Washington. This is not obviously going to be the only group of recruits who land in Tuscaloosa for their official visits. Some guys that are already predicted via us to make it into Tuscaloosa, or excuse me, to sign with the Tide, will make it to Tuscaloosa. Let's take a look at some of those names. Here's four of them that we have whooped. Whoop is our Way Offsides official prediction. Jordan Edmonds, who is already verbally committed and is actively recruiting for the Tide. Five-star running back Xavier Crowell. Five-star wide receiver Sadarian Morgan. Both of those guys are actually visiting Georgia this weekend. And five-star number one overall linebacker in the class, Xavier Griffin, all whooped to the Tide. That's 4 5-stars. 4 5-stars. Now, Alabama is in the running for several more. And as you can tell by the thumbnail, that's what we're going to be talking about. Could this recruiting class be as good as the ones Nick Saban put together? Could it even be better? I'm here to tell you, yes, but I am an eternal optimist when it comes to Alabama football, specifically recruiting, because basically, I mean, I've been spoiled just as you have. We're used to number one classes. We're used to all these stockpiling recruits. Now, recruiting's different now. You can't stockpile guys like you used to because they're about. But Alabama right now, not only are they recruiting at a very, very high level. See five-star Kenny Darby. He, on an official visit, he's committed, verbal commit to LSU. He's on an official visit to Alabama right now. He comes out and goes, okay, Alabama and LSU are my final two. I'm going to go ahead and set a date. Obviously, it's going to be between these two. He is going to take an official visit at LSU. I think, spoiler alert, I think Darby still ends up at LSU, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see. But if you've been following us on X or anything like that, you've seen a bunch of these guys. Tiller, the tight end, a lot of them just really enjoying their official visits. And there's a few more weekends of that. Xavier Crowell, Xavier Griffin, Sadarian Morgan are all going to take OVs to Alabama at a later date. And these are all commitments that are coming up in the next 6 to 8 weeks. I'm telling you guys, I think right now, Alabama is in position by the time July is over, by the time we roll into August, start getting ready, start shifting our focus from recruiting to the actual start of the football season. Alabama could have 5, maybe even 6 5-stars verbally committed. Does it end that way? I don't know. You know just as well as I do, it's hard to get excited about recruiting in the summer months because so much is fluid. It changes constantly. But the other flip side of this coin is not really a flip side. It's a correlational side, really, is looking at the type of recruit that Alabama is signing. In terms of average rating of their player, I think they're number 2 in the country right now behind Ohio State. Right. So Alabama's not only looking for, Courtney Morgan said it last season, quality over quantity, but Alabama's not only looking for quantity this season, they're also getting quality out of the guys that they're getting their commitments from. That should put a lot of people on notice because What that tells me, looking at the potential, whether it happens or not, I can't tell you, but Alabama is in the running to potentially land 5 or 6 5-star recruits. Several, like the top 3 in the state of Alabama, Anthony Jones, Xavier Crowell, and Sadarian Morgan, the number 1 linebacker in the country. They're in the running for a lot of these other guys. Jet Washington could be a potential surprise down the road. I don't know that that's going to happen, but it could be a surprise. A lot of other names that we've been talking about for weeks and weeks and weeks. Go back through our video catalog on YouTube. You can find videos about all of these guys. But Alabama could sign 5 or 6 5-stars. Now, not just sign, not just guys that are verbally committing as a 5-star. Keep in mind that halfway through the fall, On3, 247, Rivals, a lot of these will reevaluate their talent, and a lot of these kids get bumped. We saw that last season. Alabama had a couple of guys who were verbally committed. They were 4-stars, and then they got bumped up to 5-stars. I think Micah DeBoer's was one of those guys. Maybe Jackson Lloyd, I can't remember. But the point being, Alabama might sign a class in quality and quantity that rivals anything Nick Saban ever brought to Tuscaloosa. That class, the Mark Ingram class, the Julio Jones class, that class was Nick Saban's signature class. That's the class that started it all. And as Alabama fans, our expectation is that the fall off isn't going to happen. But we're in kind of this transitional period. We expect 2025 to be that launching off point for Alabama to get back to that quote unquote dynasty mode. Now, I don't think there's ever going to be another dynasty in college football, even with Alabama. I think the nature of the sport is just too different. It's not sustainable. A dynasty is not sustainable. But for Alabama to get back in the championship hunt, what class is it going to be for Kalen DeBoer, Ryan Grubb, Kane Womack, Jamarcus Shepard, all of these guys, Robinson, all these recruiting heads on the Alabama staff? Which class is it going to be that we're going to look back on in 20 years and go, that's the class that made Kalen DeBoer a national championship winning head coach? 2025's class was not bad. It wasn't bad. It addressed the places where Alabama needed to address. But this 2026 class could be shaping up to be one of the best, if not the best ever signed at Alabama. That's post Nick Saban. That's insane. That is an insane thought. Whether it happens or not, again, I can't tell you. There's a big what if on this. Let's just put the big stamp, the big what if stamp right there in the middle of the screen. It's a big what if, but assuming that they can get these verbals and hold on to them through the fall, because I think what a lot of these recruits are going to see as fall ball starts is they're going to see what we thought we were going to see out of Alabama last season. Obviously, the defense is going to sell itself this year. I think a lot of these kids might be waiting around to kind of see what Alabama looks like offensively. And that's going to change some minds. So you've got potentially 5 or 6 5-star verbal commits, a couple of guys that could get their 5th star going in the signing day, and then a couple of surprises down the road. Let's just say Alabama loses 1 or 2 of their verbal commits just for the sake of saying it, because it's going to happen somewhere. Bama could sign 5 or 6 5-stars this class. Maybe on the off chance more. I don't have the number in front of me. I can't tell you exactly how many, which class Alabama had under Nick Saban that had the most 5-stars. I'm probably around 5 or 6. But if Kalen DeBoer is able to keep that rating, that recruit rating high, while bringing in these kind of guys, this could be the best class that Alabama's ever signed. They've got a lot of work to do. They've got a lot to show on the field in the fall to kind of lock it down and solidify it. But I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful. Again, I always preface talking recruiting with the fact that you guys know Nick Saban's not there. So it's a lot easier to lose a recruit than it used to be. That will probably happen to somebody at some point in time. Bama's going to lose some of these guys that are verbally committed. That's just the nature of recruiting. There's too much money being promised across the board. It's hard for these kids. But when you look at who Bama's almost got locked up, we say that loosely, locked up right now, who we think is going to come to Alabama versus the relationships that they're working on, I think with this class, let's say they get 2 wide receivers, you get Sedarian Morgan and potentially a Kenny Darby or somebody like that. Man, that's nasty work. Nasty work. And there's a lot of names out there that you still need to keep an eye on. Nolan Wilson, who haven't even gotten to Tuscaloosa yet. I think Wilson's there this weekend, actually. But Bama is doing some serious recruiting work. Not only that, they've got Keelan Russell involved. They've got Ryan Williams involved. Those guys are more in touch with that younger generation of recruit coming out of high school. They get to meet, if you're a wide receiver and you're meeting Keelan Russell, you're meeting the guy that is eventually going to be throwing the football to you. Not only that, you've got one of the best wide receivers in the country sitting there going, yeah, you want to come here. This kid's legit. He's going to, we're going to own stuff next season. Come here, be part of it. They have a chance to do something historic, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but for all those sleeping on Alabama recruiting, I think they're going to be sorely disappointed come signing day. Alabama's going to make a push for a number 1 class, potentially their best class ever. Tell me what you think. Who do they need to get to really solidify what I'm saying? What position groups do you feel like Kalen DeBoer and staff need to address? Out of these guys in this group right now, who do you think is the most likely to commit to Bama? Which recruit who is on campus this weekend, who's not high on Bama, would you like to see in Crimson? For me, it's going to be probably Kenny Darby or Jet Washington, if not both. I think Bama could potentially get one of them, but be a lot harder because Oregon's in Washington's pocket, and LSU has already got the verbal from Kenny Barber. So we'll see, but golly, man, it's really incredible to see the work the staff is doing post Nick Saban, and that in terms of recruiting, Alabama really hasn't fallen off that much. And that is very promising, even with the NIL and transfers and all this stuff. It's very promising. And it just makes me proud and happy to be an Alabama fan. It should you too. Like and subscribe before you head out. I'm going to go eat some watermelon and get some sun. Probably too much for those of you who watch the show. Don't worry about me. We'll be fine. As always, thank you for sticking around the whole time. I hope you did. Say your prayers, read your Bibles, wash your hands, horns down, beat Auburn and LSU and Tennessee too. Roll Tide.